Hey everyone. Hey there, hey. We are not inside in the dim lighting. I hope this is better. How are you? Welcome to another episode of Words of Wisdom Wednesday. I am going to talk to us about our thoughts today as if that's like a first time thing, but specifically our automatic negative thoughts. Ants. Ants. If you think of ants running amok, let me see, can I move? Sorry, I'm getting this slight glare. Okay, here we go. Ants, how we have, if you have one, you have 100. If you have 100, you have 1,000 ants. Normally you don't have just one, do you? They're running amok. There's hundreds, there's thousands, there's so many of them, okay? Same with our thoughts, our automatic negative thoughts. Do you suffer from automatic negative thoughts? I do. The thought that tells you the can't do attitude, why you can't do something, why it's going to be hard, why you should just quit, why not try that again, giving you every reason you're going to fail. What about the automatic negative thoughts that are actually personal? Like, remember when you got your hopes up about this? You're no good. These bad things are going to happen. The automatic negative thoughts are something I call our default setting. Our default setting doesn't just set itself. It gets set by, have you guys seen the movie Click? You know I love that movie. It's like my top 5 favorite movies ever. And the reason I love talking about it so much is because in the movie, not to spoil it for you, if you haven't seen it, go see it. But basically the point of the is that it memorizes our settings based on what we put out there, okay? And so, yeah, that was just a movie. No, there's not magic remote controls out there, okay? But it was teaching us a very good lesson, I think. And I think the things that... cannot move over, sorry about that. And I think the things that ring true are very true, okay? Like, we set ourselves patterns, and that creates our default. And then our default becomes what we automatically make determinations. And when we have a default that's been set over time and time again of these automatic negative thoughts, or maybe you have had trauma, maybe you have been treated poorly, maybe you have had some really bad rotten luck, maybe you had a terrible childhood, a terrible marriage, horrible teachers, bad supervisors, a horrible boss, whatever your thing could be, okay? And it reinforces and reaffirms over time these things that become our automatic negative thoughts. Whether we've been let down in the past, we don't want to take another chance with something because bad things happen. And so then our default is filled with all these ants. And imagine the ants. Like, have you ever seen just one and you've never find another one? It's rare, right? If you see just one lone ant, you know there's hundreds, if not thousands, wherever it came from. The colony is close behind. Our thoughts are the same way. So our ants, our automatic thoughts. So think of those ants running amok all over the place. It does the same thing in our brain. Now, we can have an automatic negative thought. That doesn't mean that we have to accept what that thought is, or take it at its face value, or let the default run the show. We don't have to do that. So if the default is an ant, well, there's lots of things we can do to crush ants, right? We can move them away, we can crush them, we can do something else. That metaphor doesn't help with this advice that I'm going to give you, but challenge it immediately. Let's stop letting our default settings control everything. We have to decide, we have to choose that we're going to reject these automatic negative thoughts. These automatic tell us why we suck, tell us why we can't, tell us why not to try, right? All of these thoughts that tell us we're no good. It's an automatic happening. Sorry, I have like 3 things going on in my head. It's an automatic happening, okay? That default setting is going to come on and it's going to start playing what I call that crappy channel, okay? The crappy songs on a crappy channel. We can intervene. So listen, maybe you can't make the automatic negativity go away, but you can override it. You can, how do we respond to it? So if we get a thought that's like, no, you're not good enough for this, you'll never get this, why even bother for it? I want you to remember something called the preponderance of the evidence. I'll type it in here. So law geek. Okay, the one that got away thing for me was that I didn't go to law school. It will always be the thing that I wish that I would have done. Okay, and I'm obsessed with certain things about the judicial system. Anyway, the point. The preponderance of the evidence. What is that standard of evidence? What am I even talking about? So there are standards of evidence in the law. I'm sure you're familiar with beyond a reasonable doubt. That's one standard of evidence. There's also one called the preponderance of the evidence. And the brief summary of that means that it's at least as likely as not. That's it. That's the evidence standard, is that it's at least as likely as not. In other words, 50-50. 50-50. So most of the time when we have ants coming up in our heads, these automatic negative thoughts telling us every reason it's going to go wrong, every reason we suck, every reason something bad, the automatic negativity. Okay, when the automatic negative thoughts come along, we need to run it through the preponderance of the evidence and argue with ourselves so that we can change and break that default. You can break the default setting of the ants by questioning. It's kind of like, halt, who goes there? We call that challenging and or apprehending something, or you're challenging it. Halt, who goes there? Like, ask your mind, who goes there? What is this thought? And I'll tell you, it's at least as likely as not. Almost always you will pass the preponderance of the evidence test that something good will happen versus something bad. At least as likely as not. So most of the time, the moral of the story is our ants are full of shit. They're telling us all these bad things that could possibly happen because our crocodile brain is trying to keep us safe. It's trying to avoid pain. It's trying to keep you safe, keep you in your comfort zone. Don't have you challenge yourself. Don't put yourself out there. Don't risk embarrassment. Don't try the hard thing. Don't do the new thing. Our brain is wired against us. You remember the crocodile brain video, right? Okay, so these ants come in, and I want you to think of them like ants. Are you asking ants their opinion of you? Are you asking ants for validation? If you are, I mean, we have different video channels probably for you. Seriously though. So if you think of these just pestering, negative, automatic ants, these negative thoughts, what can we do? Create something in your mind visually that makes you feel strong, like you're just swatting them away. Okay, like a fly swatter to these bad thoughts, and create new thoughts. I can do hard things instead of, oh, this is so hard. I can do hard things. That's a replacement. That's an answer for an ant. I can do hard things. It's at least as likely as not that I will do well with this. It's at least as likely as not that I'm not going to fall flat on my face and embarrass myself. Right? And so the more we create these settings, the more they become the default setting. When the automatic thought starts to become a can-do attitude, an empowering thought that tells you you can do it and you're not going to fall flat on your face. And if you do, oh well, get back up and keep going. That can be the automatic thought. We simply have to change the channel. Every time those ants start running around and we can see that those ants are running around, we need to challenge them immediately. Whoa, wait a minute. Why am I automatically thinking I'm going to fail? The preponderance of the evidence says that it's at least as likely as not that I'm not going to fail, and I need to challenge these thoughts and not let them run rampant and not let myself immediately assume the worst. And the more often you do that, your default will stop being the running scared, fight or flight, running scared, avoiding anything challenging, avoiding going for it, if that makes sense what I'm saying. So the more we do something, the more it becomes a habit, because our brain is trained and wired to create shortcuts for everything we do. For tying our shoes, putting your jacket on, washing your hair, brushing your teeth. Our brain is trained to find shortcuts, to create a habit, to create a rhythm. And so if we create a rhythm and we create a habit of challenging our bad thoughts and talking ourselves out of them and giving ourselves different thoughts to have or different responses to the automatic negative thoughts, then what becomes automatic stops being so negative. It starts being more empowering. It starts being the automatic thought that you can do it. And the negative thought stops being the setting, like on the movie Click, that it automatically goes to, that it automatically decides for you. That stops being the default setting. So I hope this is helpful. I really hope that this gives you a little bit of insight on how you can combat some of the negative thoughts that we have, because they hold us back. They bring us down and they hold us back, and we can change the channel. We can override those negative thoughts. We can challenge them and ask ourselves, do we really think that that's even a worthy thought? Is it a worthy fear? Or that's just our ants spreading and running amok? I hope you're having a great week so far. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching. Love and light, and take care.